if someone has not been over to VESTER, you have a location in Cambridge, you have a location in Southie as well.
Yes.
But if they haven't been inside the cafe yet, how would you describe that like elevator pitch when people say, what is VESTER?
VESTER is a European-inspired cafe. We serve breakfast salad sandwiches. We try to approach it with this idea that I had of daily luxuries. So things that you recognize, like a croissant prosciutto sandwich or a vanilla latte, something super simple, but we try to take it to the next level and make it a luxury, something with finesse. And that is the whole experience from the moment that you walk in, the aesthetic, the person that you talk to. Hopefully, if you've been there before, they know your name recognition, and knowing our customers is a huge, huge value. And it's a place that is high energy. It has almost a masculine vibe, but it's dominantly ran and operated by women. And there's dance music playing. It's usually on a pretty high volume.
Dang!
It's usually not a place that you
the daytime club.
read. Yeah, no, that's totally kind of the vibe I was looking for. VESTER is somewhere where you can step into and not really know the time of day. And that was intentional.
Cool.
So you can go in at 7 a.m., but it could be 5 p.m. Like, I wanted to offer food at all times, at all days. So you can have, frankly, a beer and a burrito at 9 a.m. Or you could have, you know, a glass of wine and a croissant, egg and cheese sandwich at 5 p.m. It doesn't matter. Like, you make of it whatever you want.
I love that. As you're kind of speaking about it, I haven't been in, so I have to make sure I make that a priority and I get in there. But I like that, whether it is the flavors of the menu, the music, the feeling of sort of friendship and familiarity. Like, there's so many different ways where it can transport you once you walk in, right?
Yes.
Either, oh my gosh, these are the flavors of the Italian coast, right? And I can't, like, I haven't had something this good since my trip to Italy, right? Or, man, you know, Boston's quite a melting pot. Having it feel like that little small town experience when I walk in, because they know my name or they know my order, makes me think I'm back in the Midwest. Like, so many little things that I think people can relate to, which make it so unique, but also a unique experience every single time for people too.
Of course, and always keeping it refreshed. Like, I'm really, really big on VESTER always having a constant life cycle. There needs to be constantly things that are new and things that are exciting that keep people wanting to go back, right? So we have a variety of things that are our classic core menu items, whether it's food or beverage, but we're always rotating fun new seasonal items that keep people on their toes, that is still minimalist, high quality, but still interesting.
That's key too, because especially as we're becoming more and more health conscious,
absolutely,
luxurious doesn't need to mean 500 different ingredients.
No, it's
something
daily. It's approachable.
Yes,
yeah.
Something that is actually, I think, more appeasing to have 3 ingredients.
Oh, of course.
It just feels clean. And 3 really good ingredients.
Less is more.
Yes,
I
less
always tell
is
my
more.
team, less is more. -1. Always, I'm like, you think you have all these things on the plate. I'm like, take away 1. What can we do without?
Okay, well, sold. I cannot wait to get in there.
We'd love to have you.
You're probably going to see me in Southie before Cambridge, because Cambridge I just try to avoid at all costs. I'm so sorry. The parking is just really horrible.
Horrible parking. Forget it. I mean, I don't know why anyone would go to Kendall.
I'll be there.
Have to be there.
Yeah, I'll be there in Southie, I promise.
Absolutely. And totally 2 different vibes.
Interesting.
Southie is like the work from home spot. It's quiet, big windows, lots of workspace, and very lax. Kendall is high energy. Kygo's blasting, dance music's blasting.
Okay,
and then
I
people
take
are
it back.
like,
I'll try both. I'll try both. You got me.
Both.
Okay.
Anytime. You have my invitation. I'll send you an Uber. Uber Black only.
It will be my pleasure. Very sweet of you. But now that we know what VESTER is, tell us a little bit about who Nicole is. Where did you get started? What was your background? I mean, what did you go to school for? Give us the sort of brief little glance back at your story.
Well, I am first generation Chinese American, 100% Chinese. My parents immigrated from China to create a better life, the American dream.
Right.
And I was fortunate enough to be raised and had a wonderful education in Weston. I went to New York University to study broadcasting. I wanted to be a news broadcaster. My parents were in the restaurant industry, and they always really instilled a value in us to eat well and to appreciate other cultures and appreciate food. You know, my dad was much older, and he would tell us, he was pretty much born in the time of war in China, and
Wow.
food was a scarcity. And so I never took advantage or underestimated the fact that we had so much food and we could have whatever we wanted. And my parents never wanted me to pursue the restaurant industry. But of course, when it was time to graduate and look for a job, that was all that was on my resume. And I'm like, that's not a coincidence. And so I said, you know what? So many of my memories and my life story has been at the dinner table, in a restaurant, at any city in the world, or in a hotel. And that's what brings me back home. And I wanted to recreate that experience for others, whether it was at a hotel somewhere in the world or at a dinner table. And that brought me to Chicago. I moved there and I worked at the Langham Hotel, and it was opening up for the first time. Their vision was to become the best new hotel in the city of Chicago. And I was so lucky to be a part of that opening team. And I learned so much. I spent 3 years there. And then I came home because my sister opened up her restaurant, and I was working with her for 2.5 years, and it led me to my opportunity to open up VESTER. And here we are. And now 5 years, almost 5 years of VESTER. And it's been an amazing experience. So I guess you don't fall far from the tree.
I know. I'm listening to it, and it's just so funny how we try. I think, especially as children, there's this part of us that just innately, I think, wants to rebel a little bit, do a little something different, and kind of escape what the family business maybe, or the same things like our parents have done. But it always kind of like Boston, right? Like it always just kind of calls us, and it's a part of you. And it's funny that you were not encouraged to get into it by your parents, because they do understand that the restaurant industry is extremely challenging. Long days, long hours, nights, weekends, it's around the clock. A lot can go wrong, right? It's not necessarily the easiest thing. You have a lot of moving parts. And so they sort of were saying, okay, go try something different, go try something new.
Yeah.
And yet you just found yourself picking it back up.
Yes. That's essentially what happened.
That's so funny.
I couldn't have put it better myself.
That's so funny. And when it did come 5 years ago, the time to finally open up VESTER and have your own property and your own location, what sort of things, when you look back on your experience with your parents and their restaurants, did you say, okay, I really want to try to emulate that or mirror that? I think those are some things they did really well, and I want to make sure I incorporate that into either my business model, my structure, how I operate, etc.
Well, I really admire what my parents did, because their restaurant, Sally Lang's, it's my mom's maiden name. They really made Sally Lang's a premier gourmet Chinese fine dining restaurant in the city of Boston, which really wasn't heard of before. And I loved how they pushed the boundaries of what people saw as Chinese cuisine, and they really took it to the next level. I never experienced Sally Lang's at the level of which it was accelerating at in the 1980s. I wasn't born yet, but my dad would tell me stories. They had a cognac cart, a full champagne list. It was a prefix menu. You had to have a reservation. There was a maitre d'. You had to have a jacket. My father designed the Sally Lang's logo as two phoenixes inverted that made a circle, and it was a custom carpet in the restaurant. They had fresh floral arrangements every week. and they played, classical music, and it was just very dramatic.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love the drama. I love the theatrics. And I didn't actually, to be fully honest, I didn't think about what they did well and how I can emulate that. I think very naturally, maybe by chance of being their daughter, I too wanted to push the boundaries.
Yeah.
But when I first opened VESTER, I can't say that I was like, yeah, let me go create some brand and, challenge the cafe status. No, that wasn't the point. Like, I opened up VESTER with my vision, with a hope that we'd just be successful.
Yeah.
And, I had never had a business before, and it was a huge, huge rent to pay in Cambridge, like in Kendall Square. It's not cheap.
Not cheap.
And I just hoped that we made more than we spent.
Yeah.
But, as time went on, lots of things have happened in the last 5 years, let alone 3. But here we are, and it's given me a whole new vision. I think the last 3 years has really allowed me to liberate myself and take chances and go harder with, making the cafe a fun space, a cool place, a platform, and an opportunity for my staff, my people, my leaders to shine.
Yeah. Did you ever contemplate with your parents' restaurants having, paying such homage to your culture and your roots, wanting to be able to honor that in a way? Or were you always kind of, once you made the decision to open up something of your own, did you always know you were going to go the cafe route?
I never knew, actually. I never planned to open up a restaurant, let alone a cafe. The opportunity came, and I feel like when you might not always know exactly what your path forward is. I think most often, especially when I talk to my team, a lot of us are uncertain what our future is. We're all always trying to figure out what the next step is, where we're headed to, where we're going. It's really hard to focus on the present. And I think that when you realize an opportunity comes to you, you need to recognize if that opportunity will ever come back. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity to open up a business. And I had that. I was grateful to have it. And I just took it and I just swung for the fences. It was and figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.